News Talk 710 KURV.
540 on News Talk 710 KURV. This is your 956 Drive Home. I'm your host, the man-bun monologuer, Zach Cantu, along with the living legend, Davis Rankin. And hey, shout out to everybody who joined us this morning on the Sergio Show for our Hurricane Preparedness Special. We spoke with County Emergency Management Directors, the National Weather Center, and AccuWeather. Shout out to Jim Pigg of South Padre Island, Tom Hushin out of Cameron County, and Barry Goldsmith out of the National Weather Center over in Brownsville. Thanks for joining us this morning. And that video is available on our 710 KURV Facebook page under the videos section, made possible by Pueblo Tires. Our guest right now on 710 KURV, your 956 Drive Home, is Nick Powers, who is a cybersecurity expert. Now, Nick, we're talking ransomware taking over the meat industry. I know this was rectified rather quickly, but I mean, I and don't take this the wrong way. I want to have you on as a guest, but I don't want the topic each week being a different part of the United States locked down because of some cybersecurity snafu. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Zach. Yeah, I want to be on your show just to talk about the awesome things that technology can do, but here we are again talking about some of the scary things that technology is doing to our folks.
So we had, take you back a few weeks to Colonial Pipeline, we had a ransomware attack, and fast forward to now, meat packer JBS had likely gotten attacked by a Russian cyber terrorism organization, and the means of locking everything down, ransomware attacks, is it the same modus operandi?
So, we go back to last year, and I think this is really where the origins of where we're seeing a lot of these attacks spin up from, is we saw a major attack on not only the United States, but global assets, organizations, governments, in the SolarWinds attack, where a lot of information was stolen, a lot of credentials, a lot of things like that. So what I think we're seeing now is the results of that attack taking place, companies not able to fully mitigate the vulnerabilities in place, not fully able to hit all those accounts and change their passwords and disable accounts they're not using. And so, what was interesting is shortly after last year's attack on SolarWinds, this group, Revel, actually announced that they will be targeting the agriculture industry. And lo and behold, these guys have landed a payload inside of JBS, and they've taken them down for a couple of days, unfortunately.
How easy is it to get one of these payloads inside of a company, via the what is it, the email system? Somebody says, hey, I got a package from UPS. You want to open up this invoice? Is that how it works?
Absolutely, Zach. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. Is that the primary way that they get these things inside of companies is through email. They spoof UPS, FedEx, eBay, Amazon. They spoof these emails. They look exactly like what you would expect. And so people will click on those. If the security protocols aren't in place to block a download of a file or whatnot, now you have a file that's been downloaded on your desktop, and then off it runs. Now, with this specific attack at JBS, from what we've seen, and not all the details have come out yet, but it seems to be more of a targeted surgical strike. And so what I think potentially happened here is leveraging credentials that were stolen, either through social engineering or through this SolarWinds attack. These folks were able to get inside of the JBS network and drop files on their network to encrypt everything with ransomware. So it's at this juncture right now, is it doesn't look like they took the normal route. They actually used more of a surgical strike.
Joining us on 710 KURV is Nick Powers, Vice President of Uncommon.com, cybersecurity expert, our guest on your 956 Drive Home.
Yeah, this is Davis Rankin. This may be obvious, but it's not to me. What's the point of this? And number one, and number two, how does this? Are there a bunch of fat guys? The cliched fat guy in his mother's basement. And how do they make a living day to day? Because they got to pay the light bill even in Russia.
Absolutely, Davis. I resemble that comment, by the way. I'm a fat guy sitting in my basement right now, man. No, I mean, it's been interesting to see how all the trends have been playing out over the last several years. And we've had hackers around since the internet was a thing, right?
Yeah.
And what we've started to see now is, the Baltic states, which include Russia and whatnot, they're very motivated by money. They're quick hitters. They want to get in. They want to get out. You have your cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Dogecoin that allow them to get anonymously paid. And so they're able to go in, make an impact, get their money, and get out, right? And typically what you see, they're not necessarily leaving behind a lot of other destructive things, right? They're not there to destroy you, but they're putting you in a situation where they can take your company down, and it can have a profound impact on your ability to make revenue. And so it's a lucrative thing for them because people are motivated to pay the bounty and decrypt their files. Now, other parts of the world, though, let's just say the Pacific areas, the Asian areas that we've had issues with in the past, they typically don't do that. They don't attack us to get our money. They attack us to steal our intellectual property. And in those cases, they actually lay low, and they don't want you to know they're there, and they quietly siphon off information that allows them to, build the next jet, steal the next movie, do those types of things. Absolutely. So, yep, the Chinese, the Koreans, that's kind of their modus operandi. So it really depends on who's doing it as to what the motivations are.
What should we, what do we do? How are we doing this? Number one.
Davis's question is about the common man, because not everybody is going to go and get A+ certified, or learn anything about how to secure the Wi-Fi so that the password isn't admin and that the account name isn't admin.
Well, it's 1 2 3 4.
Yeah,
They'll
I know.
never figure that
They're not
out.
going to reset a password on a router and try to fix any of this stuff. I mean, so how do we fix this?
Yeah, I don't have great answers for you there because this stuff is so prolific right now. But what I can say is, as an everyman, and this impacts me, it impacts you, Zach and Davis, is, we've got to be a little bit more vigilant in what we do. I'm now, and it's been out there, right? This isn't Nick Powers saying that you need to do this. This is the industry saying you need to reset your passwords periodically. You need to have a rotation. It's a pain in the butt, but resetting passwords, turning on multi-factor authentication, so that way if they do try to do something to reset your password, it requires a second mode of authentication. So that would be like my cell phone, right? So, if you tried to hack my Facebook account and you got some of my information, you would still have to have my cell phone to be able to reset my password. So that's an extra layer of security there that will help prevent small business owners, medium business owners from getting their credentials stolen or getting their email accounts hacked. That's a step one in a right direction, right? Don't use public Wi-Fi, without a secure VPN. People can easily get on your computers at public Wi-Fi. I go to McDonald's, I attach to McDonald's Wi-Fi. Those are things, just good hygiene things is what we call it. When you get into larger businesses, you've got to, put sophisticated controls in place to do your best to prevent these attacks.
You mean like putting the toilet paper down on the toilet seat before you use it in a public bathroom, things like that, but with Wi-Fi. That's
no,
what
it's
kind of
after you flushed. All that mist is where the germs lie.
Here's where I'm getting at, Nick. So one of the local guys here, his name is Drew Lentz of Code RGV. He took me and Roxanne into a little seminar and showed us how these Wi-Fi pineapples work. And for those of you who don't know in the audience, and Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, it's a device that can spoof different Wi-Fi points of access that your devices are familiar with connecting to. So I didn't know, Nick, that your cell phone is constantly announcing to the world, "Hey, I'm looking for this place. I'm looking for that place. Can you help me find directions to this thing?"
I didn't know either.
And somebody who's just listening in, yeah, no, I got it over here, and can spoof your own your home Wi-Fi network when you're not even close to home.
Yeah, it's incredibly scary. We actually so I've got great guys at Uncommon, our company, that do this for a living, right? Like I'm just the face for radio, but what these guys do are tremendous things to save companies, to decrypt things, and so on and so forth. So we send them out to training all across the United States, and one of the camps that we sent them to, they literally spent a week learning the Wi-Fi Pineapple, the USB Turtle. There's all these different crazy devices that can make it very easy to steal credentials, steal your information, steal your data. And as you mentioned, Zach, the Pineapple is awesome. If you think about it, It's a 3-inch by 4-inch device. You actually hook it up to like a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, and then it actually listens for anybody calling out. And so this is why it's so important on your cell phones, on your laptops. do not check the auto connect to a Wi-Fi, zone. Don't check that auto connect, because what that does is when it doesn't have a connection, it's broadcasting. I really need to auto connect to McDonald's. I need to auto connect to Starbucks. I need to auto connect to your home Wi-Fi. And if you turn that off, it doesn't broadcast that. But when it does broadcast that, a Pineapple will go, oh, I'll catch that signal. And then from that point on, you think you're on the internet. Your device thinks it's on the internet because it's actually being given an internet connection. But anything that travels over that connection is now being spied on by the Pineapple.
And when you actually pick up that connection, it's not really Starbucks you're connecting to. It's the Pineapple you're connecting to, which means they're getting all your stuff.
Absolutely.
So how do you fight that? Will the VPN work? Is that a simple solution to it, the virtual private network?
Well, number one is don't use public Wi-Fi. That's the easiest way to do it, Zach. But if you are going to use public Wi-Fi, yeah, you can use a secure VPN. So there's VPN software out there. But the interesting thing about that, Zach, is roughly 3 to 4 weeks ago, it was announced that 3 or 4 of the biggest kind of well-known regarded VPN providers for cell phones and laptops, they were hacked too.
No.
They were hacked too. And so now it's like, are they reliable? Can I trust that they are actually protecting my data? And so you got to be careful. You got to do your research and make sure you pick something that is known to be secure today.
Man, and that's a tough decision to make.
Who got hacked? What names?
It's go ahead.
What was it again,
Who
David?
got
hacked? What were the names?
I've got a whole series of them. I don't have them right in front of me right now. But
so you always hear stories in the marketing of these VPN guys that if you're looking for a VPN to pick up, that pretty much all of them at one point had gotten raided by the FBI or something like that, and none of the consumer data was able to be turned over to the authorities, and they use that as a marketing point that your data is safe for them. Yeah. So it's incredible to tell me that they were able to hack these guys. That's incredible stuff, Nick. Nick from uncommon.com, cybersecurity expert, our guest on your 956 Drive Home. Hope to talk again real soon. This is News Talk 710 KURV.